We continue our reading of Lest We Forget, a daily devotional by author George R. Knight. Today's reading, January 17, The Zealous, Charles Fitch. The zeal of thine house hath eaten me up, Psalm 69:9. In 1838, a copy of Miller's published lectures on the Second Advent fell into the hands of Charles Fitch, a Presbyterian minister and abolitionist of some prominence. I have studied it, he penned to Miller on March 5, with an overwhelming interest such as I have never felt in any other book except the Bible. I have compared it with Scripture and history, and I find nothing on which to rest a single doubt respecting the correctness of your views. Fitch, true to his zealous and sincere character, wasn't satisfied with merely one reading. Before long, he had read Miller's book 6 times, noting that his mind was greatly overwhelmed with the subject. Impelled by Miller's message, he immediately wrote and preached to the people of Boston about his newfound faith. Preaching his first 2 sermons on Miller's views on March 4, he exuberantly wrote to William the next day, noting that he desired to be a watchman on the walls and wanted to give the trumpet a certain sound. As a major step in faithfully acting the part, Fitch announced to Miller that the very next day, March 6, he was scheduled to read a paper on the Advent doctrine before the Boston Ministerial Association. But sometimes zeal outruns knowledge and wisdom, and so it was for Charles Fitch on March 6, 1838. The zealous preacher, who had barely had time to examine the doctrine himself, was both intimidated and shocked by the response he received. To his ministerial colleagues, it was moonshine. There was much laughter over the subject. Fitch recalled, and I could not help feeling that I was regarded as a simpleton. After that, he gave up preaching the Advent near. As he later saw it, the fear of man brought me into a snare. But not for long. In 1841, he restudied the Bible on the topic. He subsequently became one of the most prominent advocates of the movement. He would be the only one of Millerism's leading preachers not to go through the October 1844 disappointment. While in Buffalo, New York, during late September, he baptized a group of believers in frigid Lake Erie on a cold, windy day. After starting for his lodging in wet clothes, he twice turned back to baptize more candidates. The extended exposure led to illness and death on October 14. But even his approaching death did not dampen the zeal of the 39-year-old believer. He knew he would only have to take a short sleep before he should be waked in the resurrection morn. This concludes our reading today of Lest We Forget.